Thank you very much, Kiran Lamaji. Most respected Venerable P. Sivli Thero, General Secretary, Mahabodhi Society of India, Reverend Bhikkhu Mahasangha, or two joint secretaries, Reverend M. Midhankar Thero and Venerable Sumitanand Thero ji, Rahul Bhante ji, and trustees of our Mahabodhi Society of India, Dr. Mahendra Singh ji and Dr. Surendra Kumar Mahapatra ji, Vice President of Mahabodhi Society, and Bhikkhuni and other bhikkhus and Professor Baidyanath Lab, my respected brother, Professor Vimal Himawangane, Miss Gihani D. Silva, Anil Dhar, and other speakers of this webinar, and other observers who are observing, and our Bhante from Nalanda also. So it is, I feel myself proud and privileged also to speak something on this Purnima that is very much auspicious because on this very day, First Buddhist Council was held. So just I am going to speak some of the significance and perspectives of Patham Dham Sangiti. As we know that in the Sangiti, and Professor Baidyanath Lab was also saying that some of the bhikkhus who approached to the Buddha that after your Mahaparinibbana, who will our teacher? Then Buddha says that our Dhamma will be the teachers. So Buddha preferred Dhamma and Vinay as the teacher, and he did not allow anyone to as a successor of our this Bhikkhu Sangha, Buddha Sasana at that time. And that is why I have titled my speech on this Patham Dhamma Sangiti, because Dhamma was given much importance by the Buddha, that when I will be not there, Dhamma will be your guide as well as your teacher also. And through this Dhamma, you can go ahead. In a very brief manner, I will speak that what is Sangiti. As we are having one Sangiti Sutta in our Dik Nikaya also, out of the 34 suttas. And in Sangiti Sutta, Buddha also says about the importance of the Sangiti, that is the concord or synod. In a very brief manner, I will see that before the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha, 8 years, this Sangiti Sutta was preached by the Buddha. And before 8 years of Mahaparinibbana, there is a death of Lord Mahavir, Nikanthanath Putta, and there was a quarrel and disputes among the followers of Nikanthanath Putta or Lord Mahavir. So Sariputta approached to the Buddha and says that the followers of Nikanthanath Putta Lord Mahavir are quarreling about the teachings of the Lord Mahavir. Let us also have one concord or Sangiti in our, and then in that Sangiti, all the teachings of the Buddha were compiled in Mukh Path Vasena. So that is the importance of the Sangiti Sutta. And in that Sangiti Sutta, Sariputta rehearsed all the teachings, whatever the priest before 8 years of the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha. And we do not find any meaning or explanation of the term Sangiti except in the commentary by Acharya Buddha Ghosa in the Samgama Sutta of Dignikaya. And he has given 4 explanation of this term Sangiti. That is, Sangiti is in the sense of the teachings of the Suddha must be taught, Vachetabbam. Second is Sajjayatatam, that teachings of the Buddha must be recited time to time. And third is the Sammadeva Gahitabbam, that it must be learned properly, time to time also. And then the last one, the fourth one, it is Kathetabbam. The teachings of the Buddha must be preached clearly to all the followers of the Buddha. But even I have gone through the grammar, like Kachan grammar, Mughlan grammar, and Payog Siddhi and Roop Siddhi also. But there is no any explanation of the term Sangiti. But in the Sadniti, there is a explanation of the term in the 1165th Sutra of Sadniti. There is a explanation of the sutra that there is a some here prefix and there is the root ge and t is the, you can say, suffix. So ge is here in the sense of bhav, that is the, you can say, nature. And by the order of one another sutra, this ge changes into gi. And then the ti, which is the prefix, then it gives the meaning of the giti, that is the git, that is the saw. But it is also applied in the sense of proclamation or rehearsal or collections also. And there are so many meanings of the Sangiti also in our text or in the dictionaries also, like concord or you can say synod also. But there is another term which is called as a collection. It is here, collection is in the sense of samuha, and samuha has been explained by Acharya Buddha Ghosh as samuha nivasoti nikayo pabuchati. That here nikai or collection is in the sense that where the people have come together to settle one dispute and other things. So in this case, so in the Nirutti Gayanam Giti or Sahagayanam Giti, so in that sense that where the people are coming together and they are reciting some of the things, then it is in the sense of Sangaha. There is another meaning of Sangaha. It is also in the sense of collections. Again, I am coming to some of the questions as a researcher that which I have found in the Sangiti, that how in the Sangiti some of the questions which have arisen to me, that how the people of only are blaming to Subhadra. In a very brief manner, it is said that with the words of the Subhadra, that alam avuso ma suchita aham pariveditha and bayam sumut mutta, that do not grieve or lamentation by the death of the or Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha. Now we have become free. Whether these are the words are responsible for convening the first Buddhist council, but the text like Chulabagga and Mahaparinibbana Sutta does not throw any light that what was the causes for speaking these words by the Subhadra. And we also are having the references that Subhadra is called as Buddha Pabujito, that he was ordained as a monk in the very last age also. But if you go through the commentary of Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Acharya Buddha Ghosh has given a very good story that why Subhadra was speaking like this, that now we have become free and do not make grief or do not make any lamentations. And there is a story that he was a barber, and when he came to know that Buddha is coming to our place, that is the nearby, you can say, Savatthi and Kushinagar, then he asked his two sons that you go to the villages, make seven to the all the people, and get whatever the things you get in the form of the rice or you can say in the kind rupees or whatever you are getting, you just collect it. And both of the sons went to the villages. They saved their, you can say, the people there, and they collected so many things. And when Buddha approached to the this Chund, and then Chund offered that I have made rice gruel for you. you come tomorrow with your great Mahata Bhikkhu Sanghena, that with great assembly of the monks I will offer you. In the next morning, Buddha approaches to the place where Chund was offering the rice gruel, and he asked that from where you have made this rice gruel, what was the source? And then he told that I have collected some of the rice from the people who have given after shaving the heads and other things. And on the basis of that, I have, then Buddha refused it, that I will not take the rice gruel prepared on the kind collected in name of that I am coming here. And he also asked his monks, Mahata Bhikkhus, again more than 500, that don't accept this thing, otherwise it will be a very, you can say, grief also, and you will go to the hell also. And then Subhad became very much angry that I have invited and I have prepared so many rice gruels for more than 500 bhikkhus here, and Buddha refuges here. And when Buddha died, then Subhadra spoke like this. And then this was the reason which was explained in the commentary. The second question which I am going as a researcher to expect, that there was one dissident in the first Buddhist council also. We are having Purana. Purana did not attend the first Buddhist council, Patham Dhamma Sangiti. And we are not, he said that whatever I have received from the mouth of the Buddha, it is very much sufficient to me, and I am not going to accept or attend the meeting. There is a question that whether he was invited by the Mahakasyap or not, whether he was afraid that whatever the assembly is going to convene the Dhamma and Vinaya, whether it will be pure or impure. So he was not very much sure and he did not attend it. So I don't know that what the research, as a researcher, I am unable to find out that why Purana made a dissident and he did not attend the first Buddhist council. The third question I am going to that when Buddha says that Chattaro Banna Samsamahunti, all the people are equal, and whosoever sees that anyone is inferior, and that is Papakam Ditthi that he will get, you can say, evils. And he says that all Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and Sudras are equal in all the respect. And he gave the four order, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasak, and Upasika. That was the order. And all were equal. Then I failed to understand that why in the first Buddhist council, Mahakasyapa did not allow any one of the Bhikkhuni to attend the first Buddhist council. Whether Mahakasyapa was anti-feminist, whether he was very much afraid, he was not socially engaged, that is the main question, that why any Bhikkhuni, and Buddha always says that Bhikkhunis and the women are as intelligent as the male are there, and he always praises the intelligentsia of Khema, Upavalana, and others Bhikkhuni also. And he says that they are as intelligent that than other Bhikkhu also. So why any one of the Bhikkhuni who was more intelligent than anyone, the common Bhikkhu, was not allowed to attend the first Buddhist council? That will be then another question, that Mahakasyapa was by birth a Brahmin, and Ananda was by caste, you can say, Kshatriya. There was a rivalry between the Mahakasyapa and Ananda. Mahakasyapa was belonging to Aranyavasi, and that is the Dhutangavasi, that he was follower of the Dhutanga's 13 austere practices, and he was living in the forest also. Ananda was Gamvasi, and he was very much socially engaged with the people, and he was very much familiar, and he was very much popular among the Bhikkhunis also and to the women also. So there is a rivalry we are having in the text also. So once upon a time, Buddha asked Anand to give Pavajja ordination to Mahakasyapa, but since Anand did not allow, you can say, give his consent to give Pavajja to Mahakasyapa, because when he was giving Pavajja or ordination to Mahakasyapa, he had to pronounce his name, Mahakasyapa. And that was the rivalry we are having in the text also. And there is a tradition, and we are having that how in the first Buddhist council, Ananda was leveled so many charges, and whether there was any, you can say, the cleverage or tricky by on the part of Mahakasyapa to level the charges against the Ananda. So that is the one questions I am not able to find out, that whether Mahakasyapa was really responsible for leveling charges against Ananda in the first Buddhist council. Again, we are having that Channa, who was the charioteer, he was also charged. And Ananda was asked by Mahakasyapa to go and make, you can say, punishment to Chan also. And then we are having that before the charges, Chan was very much arrogant. And when the charges were given, he became very much, you can say, humble and calm also. So these are some of the questions which are arising in my mind. Another that Western scholars, there are some of the scholars like H. Oldenburg. He is saying that there was no any historical validity of the first Buddhist council. He says that the last two chapters of the Chulbag, they are fabricated. The stories were incorporated later on. And he says that why not in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta? These incidents are mentioned related with the Subhadha and other things. Another that he is saying that the charges, he is not saying, and he says that it was the invention of the first Buddhist council that all the, you can say, first Panchasatika and Satyasatika, these two last chapters were added in the first, you can say, Chulbag as a last two chapters. He says that why not the third Buddhist council? And what was the time when these two chapters were written, included in the Chulbag, and Parivar, which is considered as the fifth book of Vinay Pitaka? It is considered as a composition of Sri Lankan monk in the 17th century. So there is a long tradition that how Parivar, which is considered as a composition of the 17th century by a Sri Lankan monk, how it can be considered as a text of Vinay Pitaka. So that are the charges of the H. Oldenburg, and he does not say. And among the Indian scholars also, like our Professor J.C. Pandey, he says that whatever the convention in the first Buddhist councils regarding the Dhamm and Vinay, it was not consensus of among the all, you can say, schools of the Buddha, that is the, you can say, sects. He says that Sarvasti Bad Vinay or Dulva, which is available in the Vinay Pitak Tibetan Dulva, that are some of the Vinay rules are not rules. So whatever these are some of the questions which have arisen in my mind as a research scholar. I am trying to find out some of the answers related with these questions. And with these words, one thing is very much clear, that whatever on the basis of the traditions, whatever we are having from the text, that is the from the, there is a discussion that whether Abhidhamma was also included in the first Buddhist council or not. Just last point, I would like to say that Abhidhamma, it is said Dhammam cha Vinayam cha Sangayama. Let us rehearse the Dhamm and Vinaya. But in the Attasalani, in the Nidan Katha, Acharya Buddha Ghosh explains that here Dhamma is in the sense of the Sutta and Abhidhamma also. And he says that among the Nikayas, Chaturo Petu Nikayo Abhidhamma Nidiko. So he says that the fifth Nikaya, under the Khudak Nikaya, Abhidhamma has been also included. So according to the Burmese traditions or in Myanmar, there is a tradition that Abhidhamma is one of the texts of Khudak Nikaya, and they are in having the tradition of the Nikaya, the traditions. And again, it is said that in Attasalini, Ananda says that I have received 84,000 dharmaskandhas. So out of the 84 dharmaskandhas, 21,000 are related with the Sutta Pitaka, 21,000 are related with the Vinaya Pitaka, and 42,000 dharmaskandhas are related with the Abhidhamma Pitaka, and 2,000 dharmaskandhas are related with, you can say, Sariput and other acharyas. So in this way, Ananda has got 84,000 dharmaskandhas. And in the Sangiti Sutta also, we are having the Matika, establishment of the Matikas. And even in the Samagam Sutta also and the Suttar Sutta also, we are having the references of the Abhidhamma Matikas in the form of the Matikas. So in that way, we can say that in the first Buddhist council, Abhidhamma was also, you can say, recited. And we do not find in the Deepavansa, Mahavansa, or in Chulbag related with the Abhidhamma, but in the text of Sadham Sangaho and in the Sangiti Vansa, we are having the references that Ananda also rehearsed the Matikas related with the Abhidhamma also. So with these words, I conclude that these are some of the questions which are arising as a researcher in my mind. I am trying to find out, and these are some of the perspectives, and these are some of the questions which can be investigated, and answers can be received by other scholars also. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some of the views with the perspectives of the Patam Dham Sangiti. Thank you very much.